Welcome to the Health Front of the Week, episode 33. Hi, my name is Alejandro Fleury, and I am a certified fitness and nutrition coach with Altus Fitness. Today's episode is called Fats Won't Make You Fat. Yes, right about now you must be going like, what? Whatever happened to everything that I have heard in, like the whole spiel about, just eat as little fats as possible, eat lots of healthy whole grains, eat lots of fruits and vegetables, and, don't forget your protein and all that stuff. Okay, so I am going to debunk that right now, okay? And I will explain why. I don't want to get it overly scientific about this, but one thing that I will appeal to is your own common sense, okay? As I usually do, okay? So, as you know by now, there are three types or categories of macronutrients. Macronutrients are the nutrients to your body that will add calories, basically. Okay, so we have the proteins. Okay, so that's your beef, your chicken, your fish, all that stuff. Right? You're gonna have your carbohydrates, which is going to be your fruits, your vegetables, your root vegetables, your rice, your potatoes, all that stuff. Okay, and then you're gonna have your fats. Your fats are your oils and other types of fats that are not necessarily, liquid, all right? And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So another consideration for you to take into account, and this is part of the information that has been used to cause all the confusion, is each type of macronutrient has a different density and a different energy, account, right? So for every gram of carbohydrates, you're gonna have 4 calories. And a calorie being the amount of energy that it takes to basically burn a gram of anything. That's the energy output that you're going to get. So it's 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate, 4 grams per calorie of protein, 9 calories per gram of fat. And that is part of that's part of the information that has been leveraged on for 5 decades, to be more accurate, to say that fats are making you fat. Okay, it's pretty simple. You get fat, you get more calories. You get twice as many calories as from carbs and from protein. So you're gonna get fat. The only issue with that is that it's not true. All right. For one, you do need the energy, okay, intake for you to expend energy. Number one, like Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, you need fat to get fat or to burn fat or something like that. Well, anyways, so the whole idea is you do need all of the macronutrients, all of them, in different proportions, by the way. They're not all the same, they're not created equal, and they don't serve the same purpose in your body. Now, I'm going to get into fats. So when you consume fats, there are different types of fats, but the ultimate goal is for your body to break down the fats into fatty acids. And the fatty acids they circulate, in your bloodstream, and they have an absolutely paramount role in your body. So they serve from building your own fatty tissue. However, I'm not talking about your belly. I am talking about your brain, your bone marrow. I'm talking about organs, your liver, all right? So it does serve for that. It serves as energy. So they can be expended as energy. Fatty acids assist in the transport of substances like micronutrients. Like you've heard of the vitamins, so there's hydrosoluble, the ones that are transported through water means, and then there's the liposoluble. So the liposoluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, and K, they do require fat in order for your body to absorb them. So you do need those tiny molecules of fat, like the minimum expression of a fat molecule, which is a fatty acid. So those are important. But furthermore, they are important for you, for your sexual and reproductive hormones as well, because they rely on those fatty acids to to be composed. Then things like used for your neurotransmitters. So the fatty acids are absolutely essential for your body. Okay, so that's one thing that I want you to be very clear on. Now, fat, and this is part of the confusion, is the preferred way of your body to store that extra energy. So if you haven't used the energy for all those metabolic processes that I just described, the fat is the most effective way of storing energy. But it can also be the most detrimental way as well, because like you've heard of the visceral fat, which is not necessarily triggered, it's actually not triggered by fat consumption, but by carbohydrate consumption of certain types, because your liver is going to turn them into fat that is going to be stored somewhere in your body. It can end up stored in your liver, and that is dangerous, but they don't come from fat necessarily. I digress. Let me go back to the fats. Now, all things being equal, the most effective way for your body to store fat is to store energy is as fat. Now, if you think about it, like, why wouldn't your body be efficient at burning fat? Absolutely. It is very efficient. Your body is very efficient at burning fat. Now, the mechanisms that will prime your body to store fat are not the same mechanisms that will prime your body to burn fat. And that is a whole different conversation, but it's a good question. And actually, your body is really good at storing and burning fat. You just have to find the right way. Going back to fats, digestion, like from your food source. Okay, so we know there's 4 kinds of fats that we are more familiar with. So the monounsaturated fats, and this refers to saturated means that there's how many carbon molecules are binding to hydrogen. That's basically what it means. I don't want to get too technical about this, but monounsaturated fats are the ones that come from olive oil, avocado, nuts, and seeds, and some other sources. These are the ones that I want you to keep in mind, because I am talking about the ones that I want you to favor. Okay? Polyunsaturated fats. Well, this is a tough one. Okay? So polyunsaturated fats are the ones that come from plants. However, most of the polyunsaturated fats do not occur mechanically. They have to chemically be extracted from plants. And that is not a good thing, okay? So if you think about these, like what would it take for you to, for example, extract from soy or from corn oil? You cannot do it like olive oil or avocado, okay? By lightly heating avocado and then pressing it, you're gonna get the oil. This is just from cold pressing. So you don't have to. From nuts, like the same thing as avocado. You steam them or heat them, and then you can actually extract it by pressing them. Some seeds you can get them like naturally just by pressing them, that kind of thing. So these you must chemically produce the oil. There's no way around it for most of them. Then you have the infamous saturated fats. Now, here's the thing. What do you think your brain or your bone marrow, what type of fat do you think you find in your body exclusively? Almost exclusively. Ta-da! Right here. Now, remember I said about common sense? If what you find, store, and use for energy and what makes up your, like your reproductive organs, that's just like what makes your hormones and stuff, is this kind of fat, why would it be bad? Why such a bad reputation? I have said it before. There's another video for that as well. It's not true. All you need to know, it's not true. Now, what about trans fats? Ooh, the trans fats. Trans fats are for the most part, polyunsaturated fats that have been chemically altered to emit another hydrogen molecule to look like the saturated fats. If you think about butter, lard, ghee, tallow, all of those are solid at room temperature. These are not. All right. Now, what this is basically a way for these to mimic these. So for a vegetable fat to look like an animal fat. Very bad idea. Very bad idea. And why would I tell you not to favor, for example, polyunsaturated fats? It's because they are inflammatory. Why would I tell you to do the same with these? These are extremely inflammatory and they're actually very detrimental to your health. More so than anything that has ever been said about saturated fats. Okay? So I will not extend too long on this one, but the take from this video that I want you to understand, and I want you to please check, go to your own sources, but don't go to just, like your regular doctor, because most doctors, most clinicians are still working and acting on information that was published literally in 1971. All right. So all this has changed, is changing. There are some doctors out there that are like, if you think about the keto diet or the carnivore diet or something like that, and you see how those people, even though they have actually high cholesterol, that's the other thing. You can have high cholesterol like HDL and HDL, high density lipoprotein, and LDL, low density lipoprotein, have overall cholesterol high and still be healthy and no heart attack, no heart disease, as long as your triglycerides are low enough. And those don't come from here. All right? Your inflammation levels are low, and those may come from here because these are extremely high. You've heard about the omegas. So those are the fatty acids, omega-3, omega-5, 9, 6, and all that stuff. Now, omega-6, when it's consumed in excess, and the ratio between omega-3 and omega-6 is too high, which is typically too high in the North American and Western cultures or diets. What it does, it actually will trigger inflammation. Remember, the inflammation is a response mechanism. It's actually it's a mechanism that your body uses when it feels that it's being attacked. But when you consume too many of these or some of these, like the trans fats, that is actually going to trigger those mechanisms that are meant to protect you, and they're going to get out of control, and that's when heart disease can occur. All right, so those are the things those are the takeaways of the video. Monounsaturated fats, like if you ever heard of the blue zones, like where people live the longest, right? So they actually favor these things. Avocado is very trendy these days. Olive oil, it's been trendy forever. Like people in Italy, Greek, and certain populations in those countries, actually they have longer, lifespans. And they actually have a huge, unheard of for people in the West, like in the real, in North America, unheard of amounts of this. And they live longer and they have very low heart disease incidence, right? So polyunsaturated fats are the mechanically and chemically extracted from plants. The problem is not the plants, is that how these are made. And though they are not healthy just because of that, so you want to keep them at minimum. Saturated fats are the ones that your body best uses. And the ones that your body use to, like in stores and use for everything. So these naturally or logically cannot be bad for you. Okay, I can go into that if you want in another video. I just don't want to overextend. And if you ask your grandmother, like how they use butter, lard, or ghee, depending on where you come from, and the incidence in heart disease like 2 generations ago is actually not the same as today. Today is the leading cause of death, and these guys only used this and a little bit of this. All right? So that's basically what it is. So I just want you to be very careful with that information because it's just not accurate. Fats are not making you fat. If you have watched some or any of my other videos that strictly talk about nutrition, you will know what actually is making you fat, but I will be more than glad to make another video about that. You just trust fats, different fats to a different extent. This one out of your diet, this one minimize, this one favor, this one favor, and some other macronutrients like the carbohydrates you want to lower, and the protein you have to have regular amounts, ideally from animal sources, but there's some good plant sources as well. But that way you're going to stay healthy, lean, more importantly, and you're going to start forcing your body not to store the fat, because the fat is actually going to be utilized in a very adequate manner. Okay, so I hope this video was very, very, very insightful. Okay, this is the Health Rant of the Week. My name is Alejandro Fleury, certified fitness and nutrition coach with Altitude Fitness. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.